Hey guys, Vets here with 11 Bravo Gaming with a unique video for our channel. This is actually an interview with David Sears. He's the creative director for a new game called H-Hour. And the guys over at Off Duty Gamers did this interview and I saw it and I said, hey, I would like to help get the word out about this, and if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to put this up on our channel for everyone to see and help share the message about this. It's a tactical shooter. David was one of the guys that worked on the original SOCOM, and they're trying to get this out on PC and PS4 as far as I know, and it just sounds like a really good opportunity and something I'd like to see go forward. So I'm not going to say anything else. The interview covers it in depth. I hope you guys watch the whole thing if it's something you're interested in, and thanks for checking it out.
Hey guys, this is Spartan117GW from Off Duty Gamers, and I'm here with David Sears, and today we're going to be talking about H-Hour. Now, David, can you kind of tell us how you guys got started, where the idea came from?
Well, the idea for H-Hour came from our president, Tom, and of course the Special Forces community suggested the name. So that's where the idea for the game came from. These guys have been working on building a company around the idea of making a tactical military shooter that's both authentic and still really fun to play for way over a year. Then they brought me in more recently. I've been working with them for just under a year to design and create the vision for H-Hour Worlds Elite.
So can you tell me, for guys that are unfamiliar with your previous experience with SOCOM, can you tell us a little bit about that? How you got started?
Well, the whole experience did feel really compressed because we were working around the clock for years. The technology was super new and it was capricious and it didn't always do what we expected it to do. But I came to SOCOM completely naive. I mean, when I interviewed at Zipper, I think my most recent game was an extreme whitewater kayaking game. And that was not my idea. It was not my idea. But we made it as fun as we could. So I'm showing this reel and all these maps for this Nintendo 64 game about extreme whitewater kayaking. I had never made a shooter before. And Zipper was looking for a lead designer for a tactical military shooter. And they had proposed this to Sony, or Sony had proposed this to them. And they needed someone with experience who could actually make this kind of game happen. So they asked me, can you make a tactical military shooter? Because we see this whitewater kayaking game, and you know, I'm not too sure. And I just looked at the owners and I said, yes, I can make a tactical military shooter. So then 6 weeks later, after a crash course of intense research, I had forced myself to play every applicable tactical shooter at the time. It was primarily Rainbow Six and SWAT 3. I overcame my sort of migraine condition that I used to get from playing shooters. I learned everything I could about the US Navy SEALs and military operations, studied ballistics and body cavitation. I watched more videos of people exploding from the inside out than is probably healthy. And then I designed SOCOM. I mean, basically from the top down and the bottom up. Working closely in conjunction with Sony. I had become the lay expert on firearms and terrorism and human rights violations and the US military at Zipper. And that's how I made SOCOM.
Now, first thing I want to go over, clans is a really big thing with all the fans of the game. And it sounds like you guys are really evolving the idea and pushing it forward, because it seems that, at least in the console area, it's kind of dissipated, faded off. The whole clan mentality with tactical shooters has kind of gone away, but what are you guys doing to bring it back in a new and an enticing way?
Well, we're basically picking up where I left off in terms of designing tools and support features for clan creation and management. So if you want to create and manage a clan that is extremely detailed and very discreet, you can actually create your own constitution. You can monitor the activities of players in your clan, and of course you can deputize other sub-leaders in the hierarchy to handle different parts of that management. But what's really cool for us is being able to bring you this new analytics technology. And I've talked before in other ways about how analytics is going to help us combat cheating and how analytics is going to make individuals a better player. But what's really cool about analytics for clans is that clan leaders will also receive the same after-action reports that individual players do, the same after-action reports that give you the sort of high-caliber military instruction that's going to improve your tactical combat abilities in H-Hour. So you get these after-action reports, and it's for the individual, it's for the teams that they played on, and it's for your clan as a whole. And you can view these on a timeline, so you can gauge the performance of the people in your clan and on your teams. And if you want, you can make sure that your players and your clan are actually performing the actions that the analytics sergeant is telling them they need to perform in order to improve in terms of combat. So we're really pushing the whole aspect of clans. Too many features to really talk about, but we certainly intend to bring back the heyday of clans in online gaming for consoles and for PC. And we're really excited about it because, like you said, it has sort of dissipated for a while, but it was a great idea, and people in clans, not even 10 years ago, made friends and actually found their husbands or wives. So I think that's really cool, and we need to bring it back. It's time to stop feeling like you're in a fog of war when you're looking for other players to play with. You should be able to always have a clan room where you can go and hang out and find people that are thinking like you and talking like you and have fun playing with you.
There are a lot of the operators out there. They're actually like playing these games and they really want to give their input, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think gamers everywhere really want to give their input, and so we see a lot of activity on gaming forums where people post. But what makes Soft Studios different is not only do we listen, but we engage with the community. And if you back us on Kickstarter, you're definitely going to have our ear. So we're really looking to our backers and gaming enthusiasts to help shape the future and the destiny and the flavor and the feel of H-Hour World Speed. Going all the way back to the early days of SOCOM, we knew that in the military community there was a huge interest in playing games. I mean, I know you've seen photos of people in, Iraq playing PlayStation games. But the real motivation for us to include LAN play back on the PS2 was not so at-home gamers could play SOCOM, but so military personnel on nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers could play SOCOM. So I've always been really into supporting the military community because they supported us when we were making SOCOM, just like they're supporting us now while we're making H-Hour.
Have you ever had a chance to actually go overseas or anything and watch these guys play or on like a USO tour or anything like that?
No, I haven't, but that's a fantastic idea. We really should do something like that. I mean, there's a lot of interest in our Kickstarter backers to have a tournament between the developers and the backers. We would love to go on tour with this. We're certainly going to take the demo on the road for select high-level backers of our campaign. But after we launch, I think it would be a great promotion. And certainly we're going to be at the major game shows. But yeah, love it.
All right, so David, can you tell me about the platforms that you guys are supporting? I heard just recently that you guys are going to try to push supporting the PlayStation 4 platform as well.
Absolutely. I think everyone on the planet knows I'm a really big fan of Sony hardware. I love PlayStation, which is not to say that we won't support other platforms in the future, but just a couple of days ago we announced the creation of the PlayStation Warrior Pledge tier on our Kickstarter campaign. So for all of the SOCOM fans out there who have been on the fence or debating whether or not they should throw their lot in with us, with Soft Studios and H-Hour, we created the PlayStation Warrior Pledge tier, which allows you for just $50 to get a guarantee from us that we're going to ship on PlayStation 4, in addition to our PC version. So I've made a big deal out of how most of the development happens on PCs, but now we're going to commit to any of the extra cost of securing funding for making the PlayStation 4 version happen. And we think this is great. So if just 500 PlayStation gamers want to see H-Hour on PlayStation 4, go to our Kickstarter site and pledge it up. Not only do you guarantee that the community gets a PlayStation 4 version of H-Hour, but you get all the digital rewards at all tiers below the PlayStation Warrior. And so all of those digital perks will be available for you on PlayStation 4 or PC.
One of the next things I want to go over, how are you guys going to build your single player campaign? I think you said, you guys mentioned it was going to be more mission-based, or Like how are you guys going to do that exactly?
Absolutely. Well, just like SOCOM was broken into areas of operation and then multiple missions within that area of operation, I think that's a really good formula and a good approach because it's manageable. People can remember each part of the story, and you can build really strong, motivated mission objectives and sub-objectives per mission. You know, making a huge open world game where you can go anywhere and do anything, that's not us. I mean, we're more focused. We're focused really on the human drama. We're trying to tell the stories of special operations veterans who, you know, have never told these stories publicly before. We may change the names of locations and some of the people involved, but all of the human moments, all of the action, that's going to be real. So we are telling their stories, and that's very different from SOCOM, because in SOCOM, I basically just used the CIA World Factbook to find places in the world that would be potential sites of emergent terrorist activities. In some cases, we actually traveled to some of these places to see for ourselves, but mostly the reference came originally from the internet or books. And, I still use the internet and I still use books for research and inspiration. But having a veteran tell you his story and inspire the retelling of that story, building whole missions and operations around those stories, I think that's new, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay. So it sounds like almost every mission could be like a different story than one of these guys have been telling about.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the AOs and the missions will be as long as they need to be to communicate the essence of that veteran's story.
And over the course of the game, you guys will be bringing in new DLC with like new missions and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. Absolutely. Multiple DLC releases every year, certainly planned out through the first 2 years post-launch of the main game. First, multiplayer, which is going to let us build our online community, and people can be giving us feedback about what they like and what they love, and we'll adjust the design based on that input. Shortly after that, we're working on our single-player campaign, telling those behind-the-scenes stories of veterans, and then more DLC, more DLC, more DLC.
All right, so my next question is, when you guys are going to be building your single-player campaign, how is the AI going to be? Because whenever you're doing anything, tactical like that, a lot of tactical shooters, AI is a huge portion of that. What are you guys going to be doing to kind of make it different or evolve how AI interacts with the environment and the players in H-Hour?
Sure, and that's a great question. AI is notoriously difficult to get right, and I think it's in part because we very often try to make them too smart. AI has to be smart, that's all you ever hear about. No, AI basically in a shooter needs to sort of embody a few key human emotions. Fear, panic, rage. And then, like I used to say on SOCOM, most of the effect of AI is a whole lot of shooting, a whole lot of screaming, and a whole lot of running around, because people are just looking for targets. But I think if you stick to making AI smart enough that they know where the cover is, they know where the person shooting at them is, and they know who their friends are, and that's you as the good guys. And they just follow and wait when you tell them to. All the other emergent sort of behavior becomes really, it becomes very easy to do, because they're staying close to you, but with bullets bouncing all around you, you understand why they, wet their pants, or why they panic and bolt, or why they start crying. And having said that, it's, as difficult as AI is to get right, it's less about the system of behaviors and responses to game state changes, as it is the very difficult and expensive problem of creating the animations, the sort of environmental context, and all of the audio that communicates to the player what's really going on in an AI character's head. So I think that, those two things are really what makes AI challenging.
With the engine that you're using, there's a lot of really big powerhouse engines that are out there right now. But what are you guys going to be doing to the engine to maybe like work on either destruction or with the environments? Like what kind of engine? Like what are the things that you want to accomplish with the engine, basically?
Well, the engine that we're using, or that we've targeted to use, I won't say its name today. but you've seen it used very successfully and to great and good effect on some pretty major titles. It's got the rendering power we need, it's got the basic AI stuff we need, but we are modifying it significantly to, for instance, support the AI behavior we want to see. Our ballistics model is very different from what you would expect off the shelf from any engine. So because we want that kind of authenticity, and because we want to sort of tailor the experience to be more like the spiritual successor to SOCOM, of course we're going to have to make quite a few modifications. Our engine already has good multiplayer support, but there's a lot farther to go in terms of creating our server backbone and all of the community tools, and of course making analytics work. So we have quite a bit of work to do, and that in part is why we're using a really reliable, well-developed, established engine that people already know and love. It's easy to find staff, it's easy to find people on a team who have experience with our engine and who can just start day one, no learning curve whatsoever.
I have one last question,
Absolutely.
and this one kind of yearns from the gear and the guns thing. What are you guys going to be doing about weapons customization and gear customization, and how is that going to affect the game?
Oh, wow. Okay, I love that question. So weapon customization, yes, as much as it makes sense. We don't want any ridiculous, scenarios where you have a suppressed shotgun with a 10x scope. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But if it makes sense, yes, you're going to be able to sort of customize weapons, right, where it's plausible. As far as the gear and the look and the sort of atmosphere around your characters, you'll be able to go quite far, and that's going to be one of the main areas of focus for our DLC. It's giving players the opportunity to create and project the personas online that they really want. So out of the box, if you're playing a Special Forces character, it's going to have that vibe. You'll be like, oh, I know where he worked, But over time, clans may decide they want to customize the look of, all of their players. So there'll be some drift, but it's really up to the player to decide what their characters look like.
Well, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. I know we're in an awesome location here, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You guys are just down the road. But I just want to thank you guys for coming out and for inviting us out here to talk about the H-Hour.
Oh, no, thank you. And I hope everybody will check us out on Kickstarter. H-Hour, World's Elite.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. This is Spartan117GW from Off Duty Gamers.
Hi, this is David Sears, Creative Director of H-Hour, World's Elite. I am really happy to tell you that our Kickstarter campaign has launched. Not only is the game project itself very exciting because I get to break a lot of the rules game developers normally have to live with, but because all the rewards merchandise associated with our Kickstarter campaign is exceptionally cool. I mean, if you pledge enough, you can basically fill your closet with wearable swag and even take a trip with us to dangerous, exotic locations. The images you're seeing are taken from the Kickstarter launch video. Head on over to Kickstarter to see the live-action pitch for the game and to give us a hand with taking the effort to the next level. Thank you all so much for your support and interest in our studio and in H-Hour up to this point. If we make our Kickstarter goal in the next month, we will have taken a major step towards making H-Hour a reality. And please, spread the word to your friends, family, and even your enemies if you want to shoot them online that H-Hour World's Elite's Kickstarter campaign has begun.